The wind howls across an endless expanse of white. Snow whips through the air like ghostly phantoms, carried by gusts that could freeze the breath in your lungs. This is not merely winter. This is the realm where only the most formidable survive. Here, in the most unforgiving corners of our planet, death stalks through crystalline forests and across frozen tundra. The landscape shifts and churns with each passing storm. Rivers freeze solid. Lakes become highways of ice. Mountains disappear beneath blankets of snow so deep they could swallow buildings. This is Earth's testing ground, where only the apex predators can claim dominion. Welcome to the domain of winter's ultimate predators, where survival demands not just strength, but intelligence, adaptation, and an unbreakable will to dominate the frozen world. Winter strips away all pretense. In this realm of ice and snow, territorial boundaries become battlegrounds where only the strongest survive. The abundance of summer is memory now. Every meal must be fought for, every territory defended with tooth and claw. The great predators do not simply coexist in this frozen wilderness. They compete, they clash, they wage wars that shake the very foundations of the Arctic ecosystem. When titans meet, the earth trembles beneath their fury. But winter's most dramatic confrontations occur when predators are forced to hunt the same prey. A polar bear family approaches a seal breathing hole, only to find an Arctic fox already in position. The fox, barely a tenth the bear's weight, maintains its ground with cunning intelligence. It knows the bear's patience has limits, and if it can outlast the giant, the seal becomes fair game. These confrontations forge the hierarchy of the frozen wilderness. Each battle, each standoff, each strategic retreat writes the laws that govern survival in Earth's most unforgiving realm. Across the vast expanse of Hudson Bay, a colossal figure emerges from the pre-dawn mist. The polar bear rises on massive hind legs, standing nearly 10 feet tall, scanning the frozen seascape with eyes that have witnessed the birth and death of countless Arctic seasons. Her breath forms crystalline clouds in air so cold it burns the lungs. This is Ursus maritimus, the king of the Arctic, evolution's ultimate answer to life in the world's most hostile environment. The female polar bear weighs 800 pounds of perfectly adapted predatory machinery. Every aspect of her anatomy speaks to millions of years of refinement in the crucible of Arctic survival. Her paws, larger than dinner plates, distribute her immense weight across thin ice that would crack under lesser creatures. The soles of her feet are covered in small bumps called papillae, providing traction on ice smoother than glass. She moves across the frozen landscape with surprising grace, her massive frame undulating like a white wave across the snow. Her fur appears pristine white from a distance, but closer inspection reveals individual hairs that are actually hollow and transparent, creating an insulation system so effective that her body heat barely registers on thermal imaging. Beneath this remarkable coat lies black skin that absorbs every precious photon of Arctic sunlight. The bear approaches a seal breathing hole, one of dozens scattered across her territory. She has been tracking this particular hole for 3 days, noting the subtle signs that indicate regular use. Fresh scratches around the rim, the faint but unmistakable scent of seal, and most importantly, the hole's strategic location along a natural seal highway between feeding areas. Her hunting technique has been perfected over countless generations. She positions herself downwind from the hole, lying flat against the ice in a posture that could be maintained for hours. Her massive body becomes one with the landscape, a patient glacier of predatory intent. The only movement comes from her nostrils, flaring slightly with each controlled breath. Spring brings the most critical period in the polar bear's annual cycle. After months of winter hunting, the female must now protect and teach her cubs while navigating the increasingly treacherous world of melting ice. Two small figures emerge from behind their mother's bulk, cubs born in the depths of winter's darkness, now taking their first tentative steps into the world that will either forge them into apex predators or claim their lives. The cubs weigh barely 20 pounds each, balls of white fluff that seem impossibly vulnerable in this harsh environment. Yet within their compact bodies lies the genetic blueprint of Arctic dominance. They watch their mother with intense concentration, memorizing every movement, every pause, every decision that separates successful hunters from the countless bones that litter the Arctic floor. A young seal surfaces at the breathing hole, its whiskers twitching as it scans for danger. The polar bear's muscles coil like loaded springs. In one explosive movement that defies her enormous size, she lunges forward, massive paws crashing through the thin ice around the hole. The seal attempts to dive, but 800 pounds of predatory evolution is faster. Powerful jaws clamp down with a force that could crush a bowling ball. The cubs rush forward, their eyes wide with fascination and hunger. Their mother's kill represents more than a meal. It is a master class in survival technique. They watch as she expertly opens the seal, consuming the fat-rich blubber that will sustain her through the lean months ahead. The cubs receive choice portions, their mother ensuring they gain the weight necessary to survive their first Arctic winter. Summer presents the polar bear with her greatest challenge. As temperatures rise and ice melts, her hunting platforms disappear beneath dark Arctic waters. The bear must now rely on fat reserves accumulated during the winter hunting season. Her metabolism slows, entering a state of walking hibernation that can last 4 months or more. During this fasting period, the female polar bear may lose up to 30% of her body weight while still nursing and protecting her cubs. She leads them inland, seeking the coolest areas where remnant snow provides relief from unprecedented temperatures. Her massive paws, so perfectly adapted for ice travel, now navigate rocky shores and muddy tundra with surprising agility. The cubs grow rapidly during the summer months, their play serving as combat training for the battles they will face as adults. They wrestle in the snow, their mock battles teaching them the grappling techniques that will determine their survival in territorial disputes. Their mother watches with the attention of a military instructor, occasionally intervening when play becomes too rough. Autumn brings the return of ice and the resumption of active hunting. The polar bear family ventures back onto the frozen seascape, but the ice forms later each year and breaks up earlier. The female must now hunt more efficiently than ever before, teaching her cubs advanced techniques that previous generations never needed to master. As winter reclaims the Arctic, the polar bear demonstrates why she remains the undisputed master of the ice. Standing on a frozen pressure ridge, silhouetted against the aurora borealis, she embodies the raw power and perfect adaptation that defines apex predation in Earth's most extreme environment. Yet even as she surveys her frozen kingdom, changes in wind patterns and ice formation hint at challenges that will test every aspect of her evolutionary mastery. The Arctic is transforming, and with it, the very foundations of polar bear survival. While the polar bear rules the open ice with unmatched authority, deeper in the frozen wilderness, another apex predator patrols territory where ice gives way to forest. In the dense taiga of Siberia, where temperatures plummet even lower than the Arctic seas, orange and black stripes move like living fire through snow-laden branches, announcing the presence of the world's largest cat. Deep within the Sikota-Alin mountains of eastern Siberia, where winter temperatures plunge to 50 degrees below zero, a magnificent shadow moves through forests so remote they appear on no tourist maps. The Amur tiger, also known as the Siberian tiger, is evolution's response to the challenge of being a large cat in the world's most unforgiving climate. At 600 pounds of pure predatory perfection, this is the largest cat species on Earth, a creature so perfectly adapted to extreme conditions that it thrives where other big cats would perish within hours. The male tiger pauses beside a massive Siberian pine, his massive frame dwarfing trees that have stood for centuries. His coat, a masterpiece of natural engineering, displays the most striking coloration in the animal kingdom. The orange base color burns like flame against the white snow, while black stripes create a pattern so complex and individual that no two tigers share the same design. But this is no mere decoration. Each hair in his coat is longer and denser than those of his tropical cousins, creating an insulation system that allows him to hunt comfortably in temperatures that would kill most large predators. His territory spans over 400 square miles of pristine wilderness, an area larger than many cities. Every tree, every ridge, every stream within these boundaries falls under his absolute dominion. He patrols this vast kingdom with the dedication of a military commander, marking his territory with scent posts that serve as both warning and invitation. His massive paws leave tracks in the snow the size of dinner plates, each pad equipped with retractable claws capable of tearing through muscle and bone with surgical precision. The tiger approaches a game trail where the snow has been disturbed by passing prey. His enormous head, nearly twice the size of any other cat's, turns slowly as he analyzes scent molecules that paint a detailed picture of recent activity. A wild boar passed here 6 hours ago, a pregnant female heavy with young. His yellow eyes, each the size of a golf ball, focus with laser intensity as he begins the hunt that defines his existence. Moving through the forest, the tiger displays an almost supernatural ability to navigate silently through terrain that would announce the presence of lesser predators from miles away. Despite weighing more than 5 adult humans, he places each massive paw with the precision of a surgeon, avoiding fallen branches and crunching snow with an awareness that borders on the mystical. His muscles, developed through years of taking down prey animals that outweigh him by hundreds of pounds, ripple beneath his magnificent coat like coiled steel cables. The tiger's hunting technique represents millions of years of feline evolution refined to deadly perfection. Unlike lions that hunt in groups or leopards that rely on stealth from above, the Amur tiger is a solitary assassin whose success depends on individual skill and overwhelming power. He can leap horizontally 30 feet from a standing position, accelerate to 40 miles per hour in deep snow, and deliver a killing bite with enough force to crush the spine of a 1,000-pound wild boar. Following the boar's trail, the tiger demonstrates the intelligence that sets him apart from other apex predators. He recognizes that his prey is heading toward a natural bottleneck, where the forest path narrows between 2 massive boulders. Rather than following directly, he circles through the dense undergrowth, positioning himself at the perfect ambush point. This is not instinct alone, but learned behavior, the accumulated wisdom of countless successful hunts. The pregnant boar approaches the bottleneck, her attention focused on foraging opportunities along the path. She weighs 400 pounds and possesses tusks capable of inflicting mortal wounds. but she remains unaware of the death that waits in the shadows. The tiger's muscles coil as he prepares for the explosive charge that will determine the outcome of this encounter. In one fluid motion that defies his enormous size, the tiger launches from concealment. His charge covers 20 feet in less than 2 seconds, massive paws striking the ground with enough force to shake snow from overhead branches. The boar attempts to turn and fight, her tusks slashing through the air, but 600 pounds of perfectly coordinated predation is already upon her. The tiger's jaws clamp down on the boar's neck with a bite force exceeding 1,000 pounds per square inch. His killing technique, perfected over millions of years of evolution, severs the spinal cord instantly. The struggle ends in seconds, but the tiger maintains his grip for several minutes, ensuring his prey poses no further threat. This single kill will sustain the tiger for up to 10 days. But in the harsh Siberian winter, successful hunts are separated by long periods of patient stalking and calculated risk. The tiger drags his prey to a secluded location where he can feed without interruption, his massive strength allowing him to move the 400-pound carcass as easily as a house cat carries a mouse. Spring brings new challenges to the tiger's solitary existence. The melting snow reveals the winter's casualties while simultaneously awakening prey species from their survival torpor. The tiger must now hunt more frequently as his increased activity burns through calories at an accelerated rate. His territory, mapped and remarked throughout the winter months, faces potential challenges from younger males seeking to establish their own domains. During the spring mating season, the tiger's behavior undergoes dramatic changes. His typically solitary nature gives way to active pursuit of females whose territories overlap with his own. The deep, resonant roar that he produces can be heard for miles across the Siberian wilderness, a sound so powerful it seems to shake the very foundations of the ancient forest. The female tiger he encounters weighs 400 pounds and rules her own territory with equal authority. Their courtship is a delicate dance of power and submission, two apex predators testing each other's strength while assessing genetic compatibility. For 3 days they hunt together, their combined presence creating a predatory force so formidable that all other wildlife abandons the area entirely. Summer finds the tiger adapting his hunting strategies to accommodate the changing environment. The dense forest canopy now provides different opportunities for concealment, while increased prey activity offers more hunting opportunities. The tiger's remarkable adaptability allows him to modify techniques perfected over winter months, demonstrating the behavioral flexibility that has enabled his species to survive in one of Earth's most challenging environments. As autumn approaches, the tiger begins the preparation rituals that will determine his winter survival. He increases his hunting frequency, building the fat reserves necessary to survive the lean months ahead. His territory must be remarketed and defended against challengers who have grown bold during the summer abundance. Standing on a windswept ridge as the first snows begin to fall, the Amur tiger embodies the perfect fusion of power, intelligence, and adaptation. His breath forms crystalline clouds in the rapidly cooling air, while his magnificent coat prepares to thicken for the brutal months ahead. In this frozen realm, where survival demands nothing less than perfection, he reigns as an undisputed master. While the solitary tiger commands his vast forest kingdom through individual prowess, elsewhere in the Arctic wilderness, success comes not through lone dominance, but through the coordinated intelligence of the pack. Across the endless tundra, where even the mighty tiger would struggle to find adequate prey, another apex predator, has evolved a completely different strategy for Arctic survival. Across the windswept tundra of northern Canada, where the landscape stretches to the horizon like a frozen ocean, 40 pairs of eyes emerge from the twilight. The Arctic wolf pack materializes from the snow-covered terrain, with the silent coordination of a military unit, each member positioned with tactical precision that speaks to thousands of years of cooperative evolution. These are not merely wolves adapted to cold conditions. They are evolution's ultimate answer to survival in Earth's most barren wilderness. The alpha male stands at the pack's apex, weighing 120 pounds of pure predatory intelligence, wrapped in a coat so white it seems to absorb light from the aurora borealis dancing overhead. His presence commands absolute respect from every member of the pack, from the beta wolves who serve as his lieutenants, to the yearlings still learning the complex social dynamics that govern pack survival. Every wolf in this extended family knows their precise role, their exact position in a hierarchy that means the difference between life and death in the Arctic wilderness. The pack's territory encompasses over 1,000 square miles of tundra, a vast expanse where traditional predator-prey relationships break down under the extreme conditions. Here, successful hunting requires not individual prowess, but collective intelligence, coordination, and communication systems so sophisticated they rival those of human military units. Each wolf serves as both hunter and hunted, predator and protector, in a social structure that has enabled their species to thrive in conditions that defeat all other large predators. The alpha female approaches her mate, her movements conveying information through a body language so complex it constitutes a true communication system. Her posture indicates she has detected the scent trail of a musk ox herd, information gathered during her morning patrol of the pack's eastern boundary. The alpha male's response is immediate and decisive. His low growl summons the pack's hunting specialists, 8 wolves whose coordination will determine whether the pack feeds tonight or continues its increasingly desperate search for prey. The pack begins its approach to the musk ox herd with the precision of a military operation. Scout wolves spread out across a 3-mile front, maintaining visual contact through subtle movements that would be invisible to untrained eyes. Their white coats provide perfect camouflage against the snow-covered landscape, allowing them to approach within striking distance of prey animals whose survival depends on detecting predators from miles away. The musk ox herd consists of 12 adults and 4 calves, massive animals whose thick coats and formidable horns represent millions of years of evolution focused on Arctic survival. Each adult weighs over 600 pounds and possesses the strength to trample a wolf to death with a single kick. Their defensive formation is instinctual and nearly impregnable. Adults form a protective circle with the young sheltered in the center, horned heads facing outward toward any potential threat. The wolves' hunting strategy exploits the only weakness in this formidable defense. Working with coordination that seems almost telepathic, they begin a complex maneuver designed to panic the herd into breaking formation. 3 wolves position themselves directly in front of the muskox circle, presenting an obvious threat that focuses the herd's attention. Meanwhile, the pack's fastest members circle behind the formation, preparing for the critical moment when defensive discipline breaks down. The alpha male initiates the attack with a charge that draws the attention of every musk ox in the herd. His approach appears suicidal, a direct assault against 12 sets of lethal horns. But his purpose is not to engage but to distract. As the largest musk ox bulls lower their heads to meet his charge, the wolves behind the formation strike with lightning precision. A young musk ox, barely 8 months old and weighing 200 pounds, panics as wolves appear from multiple directions. Its mother attempts to maintain the defensive formation while protecting her offspring, but the pack's coordination exploits this moment of confusion. 4 wolves converge on the separated calf while the rest of the pack prevents the adults from mounting an effective rescue. The hunt ends within minutes. but its success represents hours of coordination, strategy, and tactical execution. The pack has secured enough meat to sustain all 20 members for several days, but more importantly, they have demonstrated the collective intelligence that defines Arctic wolf survival. This is not simply group hunting. It is warfare conducted by an army of predators, whose individual skills are amplified through perfect cooperation. The feeding hierarchy that follows the successful hunt reveals the sophisticated social structure that governs pack dynamics. The alpha pair feeds first, their position earned through years of successful leadership and maintained through constant demonstration of superior strength and intelligence. Beta wolves feed next, followed by the pack's hunters, and finally the yearlings and subordinate adults. But this is not mere dominance display. Each wolf's position in the feeding order reflects their contribution to pack survival and their role in future hunts. The alpha pair must maintain peak physical condition to lead the pack through the brutal Arctic winter. The beta wolves serve as backup leaders and specialized hunters, whose skills are essential during the most challenging hunts. Even the lowest-ranking pack members play crucial roles in territory defense and pup rearing. Spring brings dramatic changes to pack dynamics as the alpha female prepares to give birth to the next generation of Arctic wolves. The pack's territory becomes both nursery and fortress, with every adult wolf contributing to the protection and education of pups, whose survival represents the continuation of thousands of years of evolutionary success. The den site, carefully selected during the previous autumn, sits in a natural depression protected from wind and hidden from potential threats. The alpha female gives birth to 6 pups, each weighing barely 1 pound, but carrying the genetic inheritance of Arctic supremacy. Their development from helpless newborns to capable pack members will require the coordinated effort of the entire family unit. The pack's hunting strategies adapt to accommodate their new responsibilities. Hunting parties become smaller and more efficient, with some wolves remaining at the den site to guard the vulnerable pups. The prey selection shifts towards smaller, more manageable targets that can be processed quickly and transported back to the den without compromising pack security. As summer progresses, the pups begin their education in the complex art of pack hunting. Their playfighting teaches critical combat skills, while their interactions with adult wolves establish the social bonds that will define their roles within the pack hierarchy. Each pup's personality and capabilities are carefully evaluated by the alpha pair, who will ultimately determine their future position within the pack structure. The young wolves accompany their first hunts at 6 months of age, serving as observers rather than participants. They watch with intense concentration as the adult wolves demonstrate the coordination and tactical thinking that separate successful packs from those that perish in the Arctic wilderness. These early lessons in pack dynamics will determine their survival skills for the rest of their lives. Autumn brings the most critical period in the pack's annual cycle. The young wolves must prove their capability to contribute to pack survival, while the adults face the challenge of defending territory against other packs whose own territories may have become untenable. The pack's cohesion, tested throughout the summer months, will now determine whether they enter winter as a unified force or fragment under pressure. The first blizzard of winter finds the pack in perfect formation, moving across the tundra like a single organism responding to collective intelligence. The alpha male leads from the front, his mate beside him, while the rest of the pack maintains precise spacing that maximizes their hunting efficiency while minimizing energy expenditure. Behind them, the young wolves demonstrate the skills and coordination that will ensure the pack's survival for another generation. while the wolves demonstrate the power of collective intelligence across the open tundra. Deep within the dense forests where pack coordination becomes impossible, another predator has evolved to thrive through individual cunning and unprecedented ferocity. In territories too thick for pack hunting and too challenging for large predators, a compact killing machine patrols with a reputation that makes even the mighty wolves give ground. In the depths of a Canadian boreal forest where ancient spruces create a canopy so dense that noon resembles twilight, a creature moves through the undergrowth with the fluid grace of liquid mercury. The wolverine weighs only 45 pounds, making it smaller than most dogs, yet its reputation precedes it like the scent of death itself. This is Gulo Gulo, the glutton, evolution's most concentrated package of ferocity and intelligence. A predator so formidable that wolves flee from its approach, and bears abandon their kills, rather than face its legendary fury. The wolverine pauses beside a fallen log, its massive head turning slowly as it scans the forest with eyes that miss nothing. Its body appears almost bear-like in proportion, with massive shoulders and forearms that seem disproportionate to its compact frame. But every aspect of this creature's anatomy serves the singular purpose of survival in conditions that challenge every other predator on Earth. Its fur, darker than midnight, and more luxurious than any fashion designer's dream, never accumulates ice even in the most extreme conditions, remaining flexible and insulating at temperatures that turn other animals into frozen statues. The wolverine's paws are engineering marvels, each equipped with semi-retractable claws, longer and stronger than those of animals 3 times its size. These are not merely hunting tools, but climbing equipment, digging implements, and weapons capable of tearing through frozen meat that would defeat industrial cutting tools. Its broad snowshoe-like feet distribute its weight so effectively that it can run across snow surfaces that would support no other predator of comparable size. Following a scent trail that speaks of recent death, the wolverine demonstrates the intelligence that sets it apart from other mustelids. The trail leads uphill through dense forest toward the sound of feeding wolves, but rather than avoiding the pack, the wolverine approaches with deliberate intent. It has detected the scent of a fresh moose kill, and 45 pounds of concentrated fury is about to challenge an entire wolf pack for possession of the carcass. The wolves, 8 adults feeding on a 1,000-pound bull moose, detect the wolverine's approach when it is still 100 yards away. Their body language changes immediately from relaxed feeding to alert concern. The pack alpha, a 110-pound male with years of combat experience, raises his head and fixes his gaze on the approaching threat. His low growl alerts the pack to prepare for confrontation, but his hesitation reveals the respect that even apex predators hold for the wolverine's legendary ferocity. The wolverine emerges from the tree line with a gait that radiates absolute confidence. Its approach is neither aggressive nor submissive, but simply determined. The movement of a creature that has never backed down from any confrontation in its entire existence. The wolves spread out in a defensive formation around their kill, but their movements lack the coordination they would display against any other threat. They are facing something that challenges their fundamental understanding of predator hierarchy. The confrontation begins with the wolverine's distinctive threat display, a sound that combines snarl, roar, and something that seems to come from the very depths of hell itself. The creature's fur stands on end, doubling its apparent size, while its massive claws extend fully as it rises on its hind legs. The wolves respond with their own vocalizations, but the pack's solidarity wavers as individual members calculate the cost of engaging this compact fury. The wolverine charges directly at the largest wolf, moving with explosive speed that belies its stocky build. Its attack is not random aggression, but but calculated strategy, targeting the pack leader whose retreat will demoralize the entire group. The wolf attempts to meet the charge with superior size and reach, but the wolverine's low center of gravity and incredible strength turn the encounter into a wrestling match, where size becomes a disadvantage. Rolling beneath the wolf's snapping jaws, the wolverine employs fighting techniques that seem to defy the laws of physics. Its flexible spine allows it to twist and turn in ways that larger predators cannot match, while its incredible jaw strength delivers bites that penetrate thick winter fur and dense muscle. The wolf's superior size cannot compensate for the wolverine's superior ferocity and battlefield intelligence. The pack retreats, abandoning their kill to a predator less than half their size. This is not cowardice, but pragmatic calculation. A wounded wolf in winter conditions faces almost certain death, and no single meal is worth that risk when facing an opponent whose reputation for inflicting devastating injuries is legendary throughout the northern wilderness. The wolverine claims its prize with the satisfaction of a creature that has never known defeat. Its feeding technique demonstrates another aspect of its remarkable adaptation to extreme conditions. While other predators must consume their kills quickly before scavengers arrive, the wolverine's digestive system can process frozen meat so effectively that it can cache portions of large carcasses for weeks, creating a network of food stores throughout its territory. The wolverine's territory spans over 200 square miles of wilderness so remote that human intrusion is virtually impossible. Unlike other predators whose territories are defined by geographical boundaries, the wolverine's domain is three-dimensional, encompassing not just ground-level hunting areas, but the entire vertical ecosystem from underground den sites to treetop caches, where it stores food beyond the reach of competing scavengers. Its denning behavior reveals intelligence that borders on the supernatural. The wolverine selects den sites with the precision of an engineer, choosing locations that provide protection from weather, concealment from enemies, and strategic access to multiple escape routes. Some dens are excavated in permafrost so hard that it defeats mechanical tools. Yet the wolverine's claws and determination create elaborate underground complexes that serve as both nursery and fortress. Spring brings the wolverine's reproductive season, during which the female's legendary ferocity increases to levels that challenge comprehension. Weighing only 30 pounds, the pregnant female will defend her territory and upcoming young against any threat regardless of size. Her confrontations with much larger predators during this period have become the stuff of wildlife legend. Tales of a creature so fierce that she will charge grizzly bears to protect denning areas. The wolverine kits born in late spring are among the most vulnerable young of any predator species. Weighing barely 4 ounces each, they depend entirely on their mother's ability to hunt, fight, and defend throughout their first months of life. Yet within these tiny bodies lies the genetic blueprint for the ferocity that will define their adult lives. The female's hunting intensifies during the nursing period, as she must provide nutrition for rapid kit development, while maintaining her own strength for territorial defense. Her kills during this period become increasingly bold, taking risks that would be suicidal for other predators. She has been observed driving bears from kills, stealing food from wolf pack caches, and even attempting to take down prey animals that outweigh her by hundreds of pounds. The kit's development follows a trajectory that seems to compress normal mammalian growth patterns into an accelerated schedule. By 3 months of age, they accompany their mother on hunting expeditions, their small size allowing them to follow her through dense undergrowth and rocky terrain where larger predators cannot pursue. Their education in survival techniques is both intensive and brutal, with no margin for error in an environment that kills the unprepared without mercy. Summer provides the wolverine with its most abundant hunting opportunities, but also its greatest challenges from heat stress. Unlike other Arctic predators, whose thick coats become liabilities in warm weather, the wolverine's fur maintains its insulating properties without causing overheating, another example of its perfect adaptation to extreme temperature variations. The wolverine's hunting technique during summer months demonstrates remarkable versatility. It pursues ground squirrels through burrow systems, climbs trees to raid bird nests, and even fishes in streams with surprising effectiveness. Its intelligence allows it to modify hunting strategies based on available prey, seasonal conditions, and competitive pressure from other predators. Autumn brings the wolverine's most intensive caching behavior as it prepares for the lean winter months ahead. Its ability to locate and remember hundreds of food caches across vast territories demonstrates spatial intelligence that rivals that of much larger-brained animals. These caches, protected by scent marking and strategic placement, provide the nutritional foundation for winter survival. As winter reclaims the northern wilderness, the wolverine stands as proof that survival depends not on size but on intelligence, adaptability, and an indomitable will to fight for every meal, every territory, every breath of life. In a world where giants rule through strength, this compact predator has carved out its domain through pure ferocity and tactical brilliance. While the wolverine dominates through individual fury and intelligence, the returning winter brings forth a predator whose survival strategy combines both approaches. In the depths of hibernation dens where giants have slept through the lean months, massive forms begin to stir. The largest land predator on Earth is awakening, carrying the power of the polar bear with the territorial intelligence of the wolverine, ready to reclaim dominion over a landscape transformed by winter's passing. Deep within a mountain cave where winter darkness has reigned for 5 months, a massive form stirs in the depths of hibernation. The grizzly bear's body temperature has remained just above freezing, her heart rate slowed to 8 beats per minute, her breathing so shallow that snow has accumulated undisturbed across the den entrance. But now, as spring light penetrates the mountain wilderness, ancient biological rhythms trigger the awakening of North America's most formidable predator. The female grizzly weighs 600 pounds of concentrated power, though she has lost nearly 200 pounds during her months of fasting. Her massive frame fills the den completely, muscle and bone wrapped in a coat so thick it seems to absorb light itself. As consciousness returns, her first movements are careful and deliberate. Muscles that have remained motionless for months must be coaxed back to full function. Joints that have supported her massive weight through countless battles must be tested and evaluated. Her emergence from the den is a spectacle that transforms the mountainside. Snow cascades from the entrance as 600 pounds of awakening fury pushes through an opening that seemed impossibly small for such a massive creature. She rises on her hind legs, standing nearly 9 feet tall, scanning the transformed landscape with eyes that have witnessed decades of seasonal change. Her breath forms crystalline clouds in the frigid mountain air, while her massive nose samples scent molecules that paint a detailed picture of winter's passage. The grizzly's first priority is water, and she moves toward a mountain stream with a gait that shakes the earth beneath her massive paws. Each step leaves tracks the size of dinner plates, pressed deep into snow that would support lesser creatures on its surface. Her claws, longer than human fingers and stronger than steel tools, provide traction on surfaces where other predators would struggle to maintain footing. At the stream's edge, the bear demonstrates the intelligence that elevates her above mere brute force predation. The water runs fast and cold, fed by snowmelt from peaks that remain frozen year-round. She tests the current's strength with one massive paw before committing her full weight to the crossing. Her fishing technique, dormant through months of hibernation, returns with muscle memory that spans millions of years of evolutionary refinement. The salmon run has not yet begun, but the stream holds native trout, whose movements the bear detects through vibrations transmitted through the water to her sensitive paw pads. Her fishing strike, when it comes, is explosive. The massive paw slams into the water with enough force to stun fish 3 feet away from the impact point. Her claws, extended fully, scoop a 2-pound trout from the stream with surgical precision. This first meal after hibernation is consumed with an intensity that speaks to months of fasting. Every morsel of the trout provides essential nutrients that will fuel her return to full predatory capability. Her digestive system, dormant for so long, reactivates with remarkable efficiency. Within hours of her first feeding, her metabolism returns to the levels necessary to support her massive frame and aggressive hunting style. The grizzly's territory encompasses over 50 square miles of pristine wilderness, from alpine meadows above the tree line to dense forests in protected valleys. Every landmark within this domain holds significance in her mental map, from seasonal feeding areas to strategic travel corridors that minimize energy expenditure during long-distance movements. Her territory has been earned through years of combat with other bears, and defended through demonstrations of power that have become legendary among wildlife researchers. Spring brings the most dangerous period in the grizzly's annual cycle. Emerging males, many weighing over 800 pounds, have also awakened from hibernation with depleted fat reserves and aggressive dispositions. Territorial boundaries that seemed clearly established before winter must now be renegotiated through confrontations that can be heard for miles across the mountain wilderness. The female encounters the scent markers of a large male whose territory overlaps with her own. His claw marks on a massive pine tree reach 11 feet above the ground, scored so deeply they penetrate the bark to the heartwood beneath. Her response is immediate and decisive. She rises on her hind legs and adds her own marks to the tree, her claws reaching even higher than the male's previous display. The confrontation, when it comes, is a collision of titans that transforms the landscape around them. The male approaches through the forest with a confidence born of size and strength. At 850 pounds, he outweighs the female significantly, but her experience and territorial knowledge provide advantages that pure mass cannot overcome. She positions herself on higher ground, using terrain to negate his size advantage while ensuring multiple escape routes remain available. Their initial contact is ritualized aggression, a display of power designed to avoid actual combat if possible. Both bears rear up on hind legs, their massive paws swiping through the air in mock combat that demonstrates reach and strength. The sound of their vocalizations echoes across the mountains, roars that seem to shake the very foundations of the ancient peaks. The female's tactical retreat is not surrender, but strategy. She leads the male away from her preferred feeding areas toward terrain that favors her superior knowledge of local conditions. Her movement through dense forest demonstrates agility that seems impossible for such a massive creature, flowing around obstacles and through openings that force the pursuing male to follow her chosen path. The chase ends at a steep slope where loose rock provides treacherous footing. The female's familiarity with this terrain allows her to navigate safely, while the heavier male struggles with the unstable surface. Her strategic positioning forces him to approach from below, giving her the high ground advantage that mountain warfare has valued for millennia. Their final confrontation lasts only seconds, but determines territorial rights for the entire season. The female's charge down the slope provides momentum that compensates for her smaller size, while her superior positioning allows her to strike the male's shoulder with devastating effect. Her claws, driven by 600 pounds of concentrated fury, open wounds that will serve as permanent reminders of this encounter. The male's retreat is swift and decisive. A wounded bear faces challenges that healthy individuals never encounter, from infection risk to reduced hunting capability. His departure leaves the female in undisputed control of prime territory, but the energy expenditure of the confrontation must be rapidly replaced through successful foraging. Summer provides the grizzly with her most abundant feeding opportunities. Her diet expands to include everything from salmon in spawning streams to berries in high mountain meadows. Her intelligence allows her to track seasonal food sources across her vast territory, timing her movements to coincide with peak availability of each resource. The berry season demonstrates the grizzly's remarkable adaptability. Her massive claws, so effective in combat and fishing, prove equally capable of delicate fruit picking. She strips berries from bushes with surprising gentleness, her huge mouth sorting edible fruit from leaves and stems with precision that would impress a professional food processor. Her fishing technique reaches its peak efficiency during the salmon runs. Positioning herself at strategic points where the stream narrows or creates natural barriers, she intercepts fish attempting to reach their spawning grounds. Her success rate exceeds 80%, with each salmon providing the fat reserves necessary for winter survival. Autumn brings the grizzly's most intensive feeding period as she prepares for another winter hibernation. Her daily caloric intake during this period can exceed 15,000 calories, gained through continuous foraging that occupies nearly every waking hour. Her weight increases dramatically as her body converts excess nutrition into the fat reserves that will sustain her through months of fasting. The selection of her winter den site demonstrates intelligence that borders on engineering expertise. She excavates her den in a location that provides insulation from temperature extremes, protection from avalanches, and concealment from potential threats. The den's construction, accomplished entirely with claws and strength, creates a chamber large enough to accommodate her massive frame while maintaining structural integrity throughout the winter months. As the first heavy snows begin to fall, the grizzly makes her final preparations for hibernation. Her last feeding sessions focus on foods with the highest fat content, building the reserves that will keep her alive during months when her only activity will be the slow breathing that maintains basic life functions. Standing at the entrance to her den as winter reclaims the mountains, the grizzly bear represents the ultimate fusion of power and intelligence in North American predation. Her massive silhouette against the snowy landscape embodies millions of years of evolutionary refinement, a creature so perfectly adapted to extreme conditions that she thrives where other predators merely survive. As the grizzly prepares for her winter sleep, the cycle of Arctic predation continues across landscapes where hibernation is not an option. The harshest months still lie ahead, and in the most remote corners of the frozen wilderness, the ultimate test of predatory evolution is about to begin. Where even the mighty grizzly seeks shelter from winter's fury, other apex predators must face the season's full intensity with nothing but their evolutionary perfection as protection. The Arctic winter reaches its most brutal intensity as temperatures plunge to 60 degrees below zero, and the sun disappears entirely from the polar sky. This is the season that separates the truly elite predators from those that merely survive through favorable conditions. In this realm of perpetual darkness and killing cold, these apex predators face the ultimate test of their evolutionary mastery. The polar bear family emerges from their temporary shelter as shifting ice creates new hunting opportunities. The mother bear has lost significant weight during the denning period, but her cubs have grown into capable hunters under her relentless tutelage. They move across the frozen seascape like white shadows, their movements synchronized through months of shared survival. The aurora borealis dances overhead, painting their white forms in sheets of green and blue fire. Deep in the Siberian forest, the Amur tiger patrols territory transformed by winter's artistic violence. Snow loads the pine branches until they bow toward the earth, creating a cathedral of white silence broken only by the tiger's massive paws pressing through powder that reaches his chest. His orange and black coat burns like flame against the monochrome landscape, a living fire that brings death to the frozen world. The Arctic wolf pack moves across the tundra in perfect formation, 40 individuals functioning as a single predatory organism. Their coordination has reached levels that seem telepathic, each wolf anticipating the movements of packmates through communication systems so subtle, they remain invisible to human observation. The pack's territory has become a battlefield where survival depends on tactical brilliance and absolute unity. In the dense boreal forest, the wolverine continues its relentless patrol of cached food sources scattered across hundreds of square miles. The creature moves through snow so deep it would trap larger predators, its broad paws and inexhaustible determination carrying it across terrain where other animals fear to venture. Its reputation precedes it like the scent of death itself, clearing the wilderness of competing scavengers. The grizzly bear sleeps in her mountain den, her massive body sustained by fat reserves accumulated during months of intensive feeding. Her hibernation is not mere dormancy, but a carefully regulated state that maintains her life functions while conserving energy for the battles that await her spring awakening. Even in sleep, she remains the undisputed master of her domain. These predators, each representing millions of years of evolutionary refinement, demonstrate different strategies for achieving the same goal: absolute dominance in Earth's most challenging environment. Their success or failure during these brutal winter months will determine not just individual survival, but the continuation of genetic lines that stretch back to the dawn of predatory evolution. The convergence of their territories creates zones where apex predators must confront each other in battles that shake the foundations of Arctic ecology. When titans meet in winter conditions, the outcomes determine predatory hierarchy for entire ecosystems. These are not mere territorial disputes, but evolutionary warfare, where only the most perfectly adapted can claim victory. A polar bear encounters the tracks of an Arctic wolf pack along a pressure ridge where sea ice has buckled under tremendous forces. The bear's analysis of the trail reveals pack size, direction of travel, and approximate timing of passage. Her decision to follow the wolves is calculated risk, trading potential confrontation for access to pack kills that could sustain her family through the darkest months. The wolf pack detects the bear's approach when she is still 2 miles away, their collective senses creating a detection network that rivals military surveillance systems. The pack's response demonstrates the tactical intelligence that has enabled their species to thrive alongside much larger predators. They do not flee but instead modify their hunting strategy to account for the bear's presence. Meanwhile, the Amur tiger encounters wolverine sign along his territorial boundary, claw marks and scent posts that announce the presence of a competitor whose reputation commands respect even from the world's largest cat. The tiger's response reveals the intelligence that separates apex predators from mere hunters. He adjusts his patrol routes to minimize confrontation while maintaining territorial integrity. The wolverine, following scent trails that promise carrion, approaches the edge of wolfpack territory with characteristic boldness. Its small size becomes an advantage in terrain, where larger predators struggle with deep snow and concealment. The upcoming confrontation will test whether ferocity can overcome coordinated intelligence in conditions where both strategies face maximum stress. As winter reaches its peak intensity, These encounters multiply across the Arctic wilderness. Each confrontation, each strategic decision, each demonstration of predatory skill contributes to the complex ecology that governs survival in Earth's most extreme environment. The outcome of these interactions will determine which genetic lines continue and which disappear into evolutionary history. The polar bears establish dominance through the simple application of overwhelming size and power. When they approach areas where other predators have made kills, their presence alone is sufficient to claim ownership. The bear family feeds while wolves and wolverines wait at respectful distances, unwilling to challenge 2,000 pounds of combined polar bear authority. The Arctic wolves counter superior individual power through tactical coordination that turns weakness into strength. When confronted by larger predators, the pack employs strategies that exploit their superior numbers and communication abilities. Their battles are not tests of individual strength, but demonstrations of collective intelligence applied to predatory warfare. The Amur tiger maintains dominance through strategic intelligence and perfect adaptation to forest conditions. His encounters with other apex predators are rare, but when they occur, his combination of size, strength, and tactical brilliance overwhelms competitors who lack his individual capabilities. In the forest realm, he remains undefeated and unchallenged. The wolverine persists through pure ferocity and psychological warfare that transcends physical limitations. Its reputation for inflicting devastating injuries in combat creates a zone of fear around every wolverine encounter. Larger predators calculate the cost of confrontation and frequently decide that no meal is worth the risk of engaging such concentrated fury. The grizzly bear's winter dormancy represents the ultimate expression of energy conservation, allowing her to survive months of food scarcity that would kill active predators. Her strategy sacrifices winter hunting opportunities for guaranteed spring survival, a calculated trade-off that has proven successful across millions of years of evolutionary testing. As the Arctic winter continues its relentless assault on all life, these apex predators demonstrate the remarkable diversity of solutions that evolution has developed for the same fundamental challenge. Their success during these months of ultimate testing validates millions of years of natural selection and proves that multiple pathways can lead to predatory dominance. The convergence of their strategies creates an ecosystem balance so complex and dynamic that it defies simple analysis. Each predator's success influences the others, creating feedback loops that ripple through the entire Arctic food web. The polar bear's dominance affects wolf pack hunting patterns, which influence wolverine's scavenging opportunities, which impact tiger territorial behavior, which affects the resources available when the grizzly awakens from hibernation. Winter's End brings the final test as changing conditions force new adaptations and strategic adjustments. The predators that have survived the season's brutality emerge as the proven elite, their genetic lines validated by the most demanding examination possible. They are evolution's masterpieces, creatures so perfectly adapted to extreme conditions that they not only survive, but dominate the frozen wilderness. The apex predators examined in this documentary represent millions of years of evolutionary perfection, Yet they now face challenges that no amount of natural adaptation can overcome. Human activity has fundamentally altered the Arctic ecosystem in ways that threaten the very survival of these magnificent creatures. Climate change stands as the most significant threat to polar bear populations, with sea ice disappearing at unprecedented rates. The bears' hunting platforms are literally melting beneath them, forcing longer fasting periods and reducing reproductive success. Current projections suggest that 2/3 of polar bear populations could disappear within 50 years if current warming trends continue. The Amur tiger, despite conservation efforts, remains critically endangered, with fewer than 500 individuals surviving in fragmented forest habitats. Logging, mining, and human encroachment continue to reduce their territory, while poaching for traditional medicine markets threatens every surviving individual. The species exists on the precipice of extinction. Arctic wolf populations face habitat fragmentation and prey depletion as industrial development penetrates their remote territories. Climate change alters prey migration patterns, while pollution introduces toxins that accumulate in apex predators through biomagnification. The pack structure that enabled their evolutionary success becomes a liability when human activities fragment their hunting grounds. Wolverines, already rare due to their specialized habitat requirements, suffer from climate change impacts that reduce the deep snow conditions necessary for successful denning. Their populations have declined dramatically across their historical range, with many regions reporting complete local extinctions. Grizzly bears face habitat loss, human-wildlife conflict, and climate disruption of their food sources. Berry seasons shift timing, salmon runs become unpredictable, and human development blocks traditional movement corridors. Despite their individual power, they cannot adapt fast enough to counter rapid environmental changes. The irony is stark. Predators that survived ice ages, volcanic winters, and countless natural catastrophes now face extinction from the activities of a species they could easily dominate in individual combat. Human impact operates on scales and timelines that exceed the adaptive capacity of even the most evolutionarily successful predators. However, conservation efforts demonstrate that human intelligence, properly applied, can also become a force for predator preservation. Protected areas, wildlife corridors, and international cooperation offer hope that these magnificent creatures might survive humanity's impact on their world. So what are your thoughts on these predators? Among the ones we discussed, which do you think adapts best to the cold? And which one is your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more wild stories from the animal kingdom.